Alright guys, so we want to talk about the Canadian Swiss franc and also activate a new position right here live, right in front of you. Alright, but before we go about that, let's just give you a bit of background to the technical situation. We're just coming off of the dollar Canadian, right? So the whole analysis was leading into the conclusion that the Canadian dollar is going to get stronger on the expense of the US dollar, right? That was our conclusion, our conviction, and also we backed it up with a short position. So that means strong Canadian. Just keep that in mind, right? Keep that in mind as a philosophical anecdote. Now, drilling into the technical situation of the Canadian Swiss franc objectively, right? Like literally objectively, we're seeing something very interesting here. We can easily see. I mean, it's all over the place. I mean, you can see 72.34 here, big support level that we talked about already, is again breaking the negative momentum on the Canadian Swiss franc, which was completely expected. We were calling it out. In fact, we thought price action was going to turn around at that point, just as it did last time it was there, right? Late January, it was right there, and then huge U-turn right across that level. Now, the reason that happens is because, well, first of all, 72.34 is a very strong support, but more than that, much more than that, price action is trading inside a short-term cycle. This is the range, right? Back and forth, like in this formation, right? So now we think it's going to be starting to break free out of this short-term cycle and merge with the higher time frame cycle. And for that, I have to switch to the weekly chart to show you the big picture. For those of you who remember, we were bullish on the Canadian Swiss from the medium to long-term perspective, but we kept mentioning the obstacle sitting at 73.18. Because, I mean, it was as clear as daylight. Price action was trying relentlessly to cross over that level for the last 4 weeks, right? Including this week, I mean. But the first attempt 4 weeks ago failed with a big spike. The following week, again, big failure, right? And even last week, again, third time. This is the fourth time it's happening. Call it a wall of resistance, right? Just a wall of resistance. But having said all that, I still believe price action is going to make it. All right, I know it looks, doesn't look likely after all of these failed attempts, but I think it's back on its way up and it's going to make it. All right, now the reason I believe that is because, well, first of all, we're missing a full leg to 74.63. All right. According to the count we have here, we're missing a full leg back to 74.63. That's one. Second, we got this price action trapped inside of that short-term system, now just coming off of that strong and important support level, 72.34. Again, missing a full leg back up to 73.42. And of course, we think that's the beginning of a breakout, right? It's going to lead into a big breakout eventually. So, and of course, that means that the Canadian is going to get stronger again on the expense of the Swiss franc. So, on its own, the Canadian Swiss on its own looks really bullish from a technical standpoint. From a correlation standpoint, it also makes sense coming off of the situation on the dollar Canadian, right? Like we said, we established that the Canadian is going to be stronger, it's going to get stronger over the expense of the US dollar, so it kind of makes sense from a correlation point of view. They will do the same to the Swiss franc. This is how I link those two together. Obviously, the Canadian is the key player in both. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for this section of the program Forex market. We're not done yet. We still have to cover the cryptocurrency market just before we let you go to the weekend. So that's coming in the next video. See you there.